So in this video, we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about statistics. This unit is about stats. So we're going to talk about, in this section, the mean, median, mode, range. We'll talk about standard deviation. We'll talk about the normal distribution and sampling, probability, all those types of things. So I'm aware that some people who really don't like algebra enjoy math a little more when it's statistics. So hopefully this section is of more interest to some of you, and that solving some of these problems are more interesting because maybe they are more, I don't want to say realistic, but it gives you a better picture of how you can use math in the everyday world. So stats is very useful when you have a large sample set and you need to make sense of the data. All right, so with that said, let's quickly define what these terms are. Mean, okay, so you're given a set of data, so like a set of numbers. Mean is basically you add up all the values that you have and you divide it by the number of values you have. So that's the average or the mean. Sum up all the terms, divide by the number of terms. Median is within that set, what is the middle number? That's all median is. If there's an odd number of numbers, then you pick the middle one. If there's an even one, then there's not really quite a middle. So you have to pick the middle two and take the mean or average of the middle two. That will give you the middle of the set. Mode, this one's probably the easiest, is the term that occurs the most. Range, this is probably the second easiest, honestly, is taking the maximum in the set minus the minimum of the set. That gives you the spread. It's one way to measure the spread. It's not always the best way to measure the spread. We'll talk about standard deviation in another video, but it's just one way to measure the spread. It's just because you're taking the max minus the min. So that's literally what range is, how much it spans. Okay, and sometimes depending on the industry, we call it the peak to peak range. All right, okay, so let's dive into the problems. Number one. The test scores of 8 students are shown in the table above. Let lowercase m be the mean of the scores and uppercase m be the median of the scores. What is the value of capital M minus lowercase m? So go ahead and try this one first on your own. Okay, so to find the mean, we have to add up all the terms and divide by the number of terms. There are 8 students, so we're going to be dividing by 8. So let's do lowercase m is something divided by 8. Okay, we're going to add up all the numbers. There is one student that got a 67. There are 3 students that got 75, so it'll be plus 75, plus 75, plus another 75, or 75 times 3. Next, 2 people got 87, so we need to add 2 87s, or 87 times 2. And similarly, 91 times 2. Okay, plug that into your calculator. You should get 81. That's the mean. Median, remember, is the middle number. Okay, so this is a case where there's 8 students. There's an even number of terms. So we got to find the middle two and take the average. So let's just list it out. 67, 75, 75, 75, 87, 87, 91, 91. Those are your terms, okay? We go find the middle by crossing one out on each side. Okay, so these are the middle two. We need to take the average. So uppercase M, the median, is 75 plus 87 divided by 2. That's taking the average of the 2 terms, the mean of the 2 terms. So what is that? That is 162 over 2, which is 81. Okay, so it's asking for capital M minus lowercase m, so 81 minus 81, that is 0. Okay. The average, or the arithmetic mean of 5 numbers, n minus 3, 2n plus 1, 3n minus 4, and 5n plus 10 is 8, which the following is true. Mean, median, and range is talking about. Okay, so go ahead and try to solve this one first on your own. All right, so you probably need to find what n is. So they say the mean is 8. So if we sum these 5 terms up, it would be, okay, let's add up all the n's first. It'll be n plus another n, so that's 2n, 4n, 7n, 12n. So 12n, and then 0 minus 3, that's negative 3, plus 1, that's negative 2, minus 4, that's negative 6, plus 10, that's plus 4. And there are 5. This is the average of these 5 numbers, because I added up n minus 3, 2n plus 1, 3n minus 4, 5n plus 10. There are 5 of them. So divide by the number of terms, 5. This is 8, so let's solve for n. 12n plus 4 is 40. 12n is 36. N is 3, okay? So the median, well, let's just plug in all the numbers here, and then we can sort it sequentially if needed. N is 3, and then 3 minus 3 is 0. 2 times 3 plus 1, that's 7. 3 times 3 minus 4, that's 5. 5 times 3, 15 plus 10, that's 25. Okay? Let's sort them sequentially. That's 0, 3, 5, 7, 25. So median, find the middle one, that is 5. So we cross those two out. The range is the max minus the mid. So 25 minus 0, that's 25. Okay? Hopefully you got that. Next, the average of two numbers is half x plus 1. If one of the numbers is x, what is the other number? So go ahead and set this one up and try to solve it first on your own. All right, so let's call the other number y. So the average is x plus y. One of the numbers is x, the other number is y. Divide by 2. The average is half x plus 1. Okay? Let's just split this fraction up on this side. Half x plus half y is half x plus 1. Okay? Half x and half x on both sides. Let's remove them. Half y is 1, so multiply 2 on both sides. Y is equal to 2. The second number is 2. All right? The average of a set of n numbers is 19. If the average of the 6 greatest numbers in the set is 29, and the average of the remaining numbers is 7, what is the value of n? So go ahead and try to set this one up and solve it on your own first. Okay, so how I thought through of this was the average of all of them is 9. So the total over all total, let me say, over n, that's because you need to sum divide by the number of terms, that's the average, is 19. So the total of all, or I said all total, is 19n. All right? If the average of the 6 greatest numbers in the set is 29, so sum of 6 biggest over 6 would be 29. All right? So the sum of the 6 biggest is 29 times 6. That's 120 plus 54. That is 174. And then the average of the remaining, so sum remain over, that would be n minus 6 is 7. There's n numbers. The sum of the 6 biggest is already accounted for. The remainder would be n minus 6. Okay? So the sum of the remainder is 7 times n minus 6, which is 7n minus 42. Okay? So the sum of all is the sum of the 6 biggest plus the sum of the remainder. So 19n is 174 plus 7n minus 42. And if we solve for n, that is 12n is, what is that? That is 132. Okay? N is 11. Answer C. Okay? So this is the trick for a lot of these types of problems. You need to find the sum of the components, and then you can find something else, usually. In the case if you want to find this n, but sometimes it's like, oh, maybe you want to find the average of the remaining numbers. So it's always something like this setup. You have to go back to the sum. All right, the average of m, n, and -1 is 0. What is the value of m plus n? So go ahead and try to solve this one. All right, so average, so m plus n plus -1, so that, and we're just going to write -1 over, there's 3 terms, is 0. So m plus n minus 1 is 0. After multiplied by 3 on both sides, m plus n is 1. Simple as that. The average test score for all the students in the class is 84. The average score of m boys in the class was 79, while that of n girls was 87. What is the ratio of m to n? So this is bringing back ratio. So let's see how you set this one up. So go ahead and try it first on your own. Okay, so we're going to basically do what we did up here. Okay, so the average test score for all the students in the class is 84. So sum of all over how many students are there? There's m boys and n girls. So m plus n is 87. Okay, so we can write this as sum of all is 87 times m plus n. Okay, the average score of m boys is 79, so sum of the boys over m is 79, so sum of the boys is 79m. And similarly, I'm not going to write the expression, I'll just say it. Average of the girls, n girls, was 87, so sum of the girls, the test scores, that's the sum, is 87n. Okay, so once again, like in the other problem, the sum of all the test scores is the sum of the test scores of the boys plus the sum of the test scores of the girls. So let's set this up. 87m plus 87n is, otherwise just distributed to both. Okay, did I write it right? It should be 84. Actually, this is 84. Okay, is 79m plus 87n. Okay, and then we want ratio of m to n. So you want m over n. So let's move all the terms with m on one side and all the terms with n on the other side. So this would be 5m is 3n. So the m over n would be 3 over 5. And that's your answer. Okay, last one. In this section, a student has an average score of 86 points for 4 tests. What total score does the student need in the next 2 tests in order to have an average of 90 for all 6 tests? Oh, this is a very common thing students do. So if you've done this before, then you know how to solve this problem. So go ahead and try this one. Okay, so if you ever had to calculate what score you need on the final exam in order to pass the class, or maybe you're at B+ and you want to get A- in that range, so you need to calculate the score also for the minimum score you need to get an A-, something like that. Very common thing that students do. All right, so how do we do that though? In this case, she had an average score of 86 for 4 tests, so the sum of the scores over 4 is 86, so the sum of the scores is 86 times 4, which is 320 plus 24. That is 344. Okay. What total score does the student need in the next 2 tests in order to have an average of 90 for all 6 tests? So it'll be 344, the existing score, and then let's call x the sum of the remaining 2 tests, over, so 4 tests and then 2 more tests, that's 6 tests total. She wants an average of 90. So you just solve for x here. It'll be x is 360 minus 344, not 360, what is that, 540, so like that doesn't look right, 540 minus 344, okay, and that is 196. So she needs 196 on the next two tests to get A minus. She's literally wants an A minus here. So if you divide this by 2, that's like a 98, right? She needs a 98 on the next two tests, average of 98. So she gets 98% on both the next two tests. She's good. That's a really high goal, but depends on this class. Whatever it's might be doable. All right, so that's this set of problems. So hopefully you saw the pattern of the types of questions that they commonly ask. When it's relating to averages, you just got to find the sum, as you can see. And then you got to do something with that sum. All right, so in the next video, we are going to talk about standard deviation. So please look out for that one if you're interested. And as always, please like and subscribe if you have not already and you found this video to be helpful.